Hey, good morning, fellow business people who are kind of freaked out in a reasonably freaky out kind of time. Welcome to What's Next. Today, we're taking a look at where we are, which is crazy, where we're going, which is going to be good. We just have to figure out how to get there. So I'd like to talk about next steps. And joining me today is a longtime good guy and a friend of mine and a man that I admire as a man, which is a good idea because JuVan Langford is the founder of something called the Men Tour. JuVan,
Yes, sir.
sorry for doing all the talking, buddy. Nice to see you.
Oh,
Welcome.
good. Good to see you too. Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it. And just thank you, first of all, for creating a platform for people like myself to spread a little more light in the world.
Hmm. One of the things that I've watched you do over the past years, working with men and boys and bringing people together, is the kind of community and the kind of real talk that you inspire. Can you help us look for ways to get through this short time, get to, we don't know where we're going ultimately, but what can we do today? There's a lot of people struggling with what to do for themselves, for others.
hmm
What are some good places to start?
Yeah, it's a good question. I feel like just to give some context, those who will come across this piece of content is I'm the founder of the Mentor, which is a multinational charitable organization. We're in the US and Australia, and we work primarily in the men's mental health space and emotional well-being. So we run retreats, events, we have an online community, and the purpose and the intention behind it is to create community and not give men a place to go to, but rather a place to come from. And so when you say where should we be looking, I think it's within. For me personally right now, I have an online business. A lot of my business is virtual. So I haven't been hit too hard by this experience, although there are other people who have. And so I'm continuing to do what I was already doing and also pivoting and also considering what's next. But I'm going first within. There's so many things I wanted to do and work on, learn a different language, learn an instrument, wanted to tighten up my business. I wanted to kind of reevaluate, the clientele I'm working with. I'm kind of, what I would say in two words is taking inventory. I think this is a perfect time to take inventory on what you want, on where you're going, and who you're going to be collaborating with. Because after the storm, it's going to require a great deal of collaborative effort in order for anything to really be able to take flight. In my personal opinion, and what I would say is, if you're considering what to do next, is to first just take a step back and really take inventory as to what's most important right now. And for me, it's how do I continue to serve those I was already serving? This is the
Hmm.
first thing. Two, what are some things that I have been waiting to do or putting on pause or have sat on the back shelf or on the back burner
Right.
for a while? And then lastly is thinking ahead of the curve and considering, okay, if this goes until August, September, October, or if the year is canceled, what does 2021 look like? How can I pivot personally and professionally so that I can be ahead of the curve and not be consumed by the curve, if you will.
Hmm. And because there's so much of this stuff is inward focused, and when you're talking about looking within and reevaluating, this is a very tough subject because there's a lot of, and I always say guys like me, because how the hell am I going to speak about women like that or guys like you? I don't know. Guys like me, whatever kind
Mm-hmm.
of nut I am,
Mm-hmm.
I need, I have needed structure,
Mm-hmm.
greater structure formerly before I started my own company. But boy, I sure like to know really with certainty. And this time seems to take away all the certainty,
Yeah.
which can be terrible or
Yeah.
can be an opportunity, if I'm hearing you correctly, is to say, okay, what am I really about? Right? Like everything's going to be different moving forward. So what should I really be doing? And
Yeah.
and then what do I have to do that with, right? Inner skills. And
Yeah.
if you're talking about who you're going to collaborate with, we're right back to building community.
Absolutely. I feel like so that the core pillars for our organization are identity, intimacy, and integrity. Identity is important because I feel like if you don't know who you are, where you're going, or what you're creating in the world, then you can't create intimacy. You can't have people who really see you for who you truly are. And if you don't have people who hold you high and call you into your next level, then you live and lead a life out of integrity. So it's kind of
Right.
like the journey we take clients on. So when it comes to identity, when I say take inventory, for me, the most important thing right now is inventory on relationships. First being with myself.
Okay.
Second is identifying the people that I have been working with and supporting, or people I've been desiring to reach in business, now's the time that you can reach them. They have nothing but time.
Right.
So it's really beginning to build relational wealth. So for example, I work in the mental health space. So I have relationships with companies like GQ, Meditation Australia, Movember, like those are the bigger brands, the bigger authorities, as I would say, in my lane. So now I'm making an effort to make connections with them, to check in what they're doing, to explore how I can support what they're in the process of creating, to begin having those conversations, to set myself up for, if they're having a huge event in November or something's upcoming, to position myself to be able to play with the bigger players. Because those of us who are business leaders and entrepreneurs, the most important thing is having relational wealth. It's about who you know, and I feel that's how I've been able to travel globally, from India,
Right.
Africa, Australia, Canada, and directly throughout the US, nationally. It's about the relationships that I've groomed, that I have poured into and invested time and energy and resources.
Relationship wealth.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
that is a beautiful term. I haven't actually heard it put like that. So that connection with yourself, this opportunity to reevaluate, take inventory, make a shift.
I think there's a community that you build as a leader, and then there's a community that builds you. And right now, my emphasis, as I support the community I'm committed to serving, I'm also taking inventory on, okay, who do I get to lean into a little bit more during this lull, during this window of time? Because life will not be the same. That's one thing that you can guarantee. We won't navigate financially the same. We won't navigate how we eat or treat our bodies the same. I don't think we'll navigate how we gather the same. I don't think that businesses will be run the same. I think everybody's needing to pivot themselves. And I think what's going to be needed moving forward are therapists, are life and business coaches, are health practitioners. They're going to be the most important thing, because people, this is a traumatic experience. It was unexpected. And it's also something that people are not full-heartedly taking seriously at this point.
Right.
And it's the end of March, and it's we haven't even hit the peak of this. We're nowhere
Right.
close to the
Or
peak of
March
this. So
30th. I mean, this is just getting
yes,
underway in the United States.
and I think I'm doing these things daily right now for the month of March, called humanity huddles, where I'm just having virtual calls like this with groups, and there's a few people. The first one, the second one is about 10 or 12, the third one's like 30 people, so they're growing. But the
Humanity
topic I talked
huddle.
about,
I love that.
the thing that we're talking about, the topic of the huddle is the weight, WEIGHT, of waiting, the weight of waiting. Right now, we're feeling heavy. I think this is the time, finally, that we've been given to identify what we've been carrying, why we've been stressed, why we've been feel disconnected, why we are uninspired by our company mission and movement. To really take inventory, I really think that is what this time is for. I think that we have been abusing the earth and the universe, and it needed a break. Mother Nature needed a break. Father Time needed a break. God needed a break. The universe, Gaia, everybody needed a break. And instead of complaining about this, I think that we need to honor this. We need to honor this time, to use this time. I'm reading books. I signed up for the masterclass. I'm reaching out to clients. It's a time to pour into yourself. And I think that's a key part of leadership, Mike, is, leadership is understanding one thing, that life is about emptying and pouring, and knowing what the moment requires of you. And right now, this is a moment to empty what no longer served us, and to allow others to pour into us, and to allow ourselves to pour into others, which is why I said hell yes to being on this call, because if my message or story or wisdom can support someone, I'm game, I'm in.
Great. Yeah. And it does, and it will. And I want to keep our conversation short so we can have another in the future. And
Yes.
what I just heard out of that, among many things, is the idea of leaning in to get support. But at the same token, you're leaning in to give support. So the more the more you lean in together, it's the redwood trees, right? I mean, these giant sequoias and redwood trees in Northern California, they grow so tall, the tallest trees, the biggest trees in the world. They have very shallow root systems because they're all intertwined together. That's why they grow in groves.
Yeah.
That's
beautiful.
I don't want to turn into an analogy guy, but it's really
No,
beautiful.
we love analogies.
Right on. JuVan Langford, founder of the Men Tour. Thank you for showing up, as always. And I will talk to you soon, because the one thing that we know is we can do this.
Oh, yes, we can.